Hey guys, it's Danny. Today we're gonna do a then and now type of video. You guys really like these videos and I actually enjoy remembering how these orchids used to look like and how they look now. But given some recent, let's say, conversations that I had in my comment section, I realized something. I'm not the type of person who only likes to show good stuff, nice stuff, positive stuff. I am the type of person who actually cares about reality, and I feel that everything has its role, even the negative side. And if you think that this hobby is all positive and joy, no, it's not. It can be very frustrating. It can be lost money. It can be a lot of things. Overall, the good sides are always better than the bad sides. That's why we collect orchids and we enjoy them. But let's make a parallel to beauty. We all see these beautiful models, be them women or men, and some of us take it as, you know what, I want to look a little better too. So some of us go through some lengths to look like that. But some of us don't really get it like that. Some of us get really sad about seeing all these perfect photoshopped people, which is not reality because most of us do not look like that. And depending who you are, how your emotional state is at the time, you can actually get a really bad time if you only see this perfect image that everybody portrays. And it's not only about beauty, it's in every section of our lives. Yes, I love beauty too and I feel inspired, but I don't want to forget the reality either. I don't want to forget that some stuff are not always beautiful. It's okay to have that side as well. So for this reason, I always did this, but now more than ever, I want to present in my videos maybe things that other people don't present. I want to present the not so pretty stuff as well. In my then and now videos, you're gonna see great evolutions, but you're also gonna see orchids which did not evolve that great. It's part of a reality, it's part of this hobby, and I don't want anybody to ever feel bad that they only see on YouTube beautiful orchids that other people have, and you yourself don't have everything so beautiful. We don't. And I will make it my mission to present beautiful stuff that will inspire you, but also the reality, which sometimes might not be so beautiful, but it can teach us a lot of things, and moreover, I think it can ground us. I'm sorry about that intro, it is just something very important to me. I'll try better to show you the reality of things, and I know some of you will not enjoy this attitude, but that's okay. For me as a person, it is more important to present reality and not live with the conscience that I am presenting only selective things, and I'm contributing to this state of sadness that maybe people don't have what I have. Everybody can have what I have. If you have dying orchids, don't worry, I have them too. Everybody does. Some of us just don't show them to you. And with that said, let's start the video. Alrighty, let's start with a seedling, which I doubt is a seedling still. This is the Vaalabha Kansas, and I purchased her about a year and a half ago. She was a proper seedling, and you'll have some footage on the screen. You can see how tiny she was. Well, ever since then, she grew and grew and grew, and just look at her today. Look at this leaf. I don't know if you can actually tell from this angle, but she is a lot bigger. I think she tripled in size. Well, let's say length, because she didn't really become more bushy. This is the latest leaf, and you can see how long it is. She's still not mature. I don't expect blooms this year. I'm not sure about next year either. I think she still needs to grow, but I'm pretty confident that in 2 years' time I will have some blooms if I manage to treat her correctly, because size-wise I think she will get there. Look at her. Now, ever since I had this orchid, I ran into the issue of hydration. This is a big drinker, you guys. And as you can see now, I'm running a self-watering system with her, and being that she is so pendant, I opted for a normal pot inside. And there you have it. And this longer, or actually taller, mask, which I find is just wonderful. Not only does it retain a lot of water for her, but also it provides a taller stand, let's say, for her display. As for the orchid, I potted her upright when I potted her, as far as I remember, and now she has just drooped and drooped, and yeah, this orchid is not meant to grow upright. She has very heavy leaves and will grow pendant no matter what. So some people opt to mount it, and if you can offer water as frequent as she needs it, it's a wonderful way of growing it. Some people put her in a hanging basket, and some of us still keep this orchid in a pot, but in a pendant manner, and that's absolutely fine. Since I recently repotted her, I noticed that the roots were in perfect condition, but you can see this root at the top, it started to grow and then it dried. This orchid doesn't really like drought. I find that the Vaalabha Kansas is quite thirsty and doesn't respond so well to dry environments or very dry medium. Therefore, mounting is absolutely out of the question for me. She does like the LECA system, semi-hydroponics, so. She did very well, but I just had to water her way too often, and I'm sure that this setup will work a lot better for her. But there we have it. Very nice evolution on this orchid, and even if she's not gonna bloom this year, who knows, maybe I can hope for next year? A girl can dream. Alrighty, next up we have a Katla. This is one of the ICU orchids. Now, this is a long time ago. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's perfectly fine. Check the description down below. I will add a link to the ICU orchids. Practically about 2.5 years ago, Ana Maria sent me a lot of back divisions from her Katla orchids mainly, and a few others, and I tried my best to maintain them and make them flourish. And this is one of them. Well, spoiler, not all of them made it because it was the year in which I moved to Cyprus and they didn't take well to the move. But the Cattleya alvum, which is this one, made it. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm surprised. I'll tell you why. So when I received this orchid, I only had 2 pseudobulbs, and I think one was lost and the second one was this one. This is a very old growth. And ever since I received it, it produced this really tiny growth here, and then this one, which is considerably larger but still very tiny, and now it has grown this new growth, which, can you see how big, how actually tall it is? It's actually doing well and recovering. But I think I set it back once again because I tried to put it outside. I tried to grow it outside with the other Cattleyas. And then one day we had this wicked wind that lasted an entire day. And at the end of the day, I went to check up on my orchids. Most of them were okay because Cattleyas are pretty robust orchids. But she had this new growth just bent over. This pseudobulb was not mature. It's still flexible. This pseudobulb was completely immature. The new growth was flopping over. I thought it was broken. I brought the Cattleya inside. She's not sitting outside anymore, needless to say. And I staked it. I tried to put it upright, and I hoped that the pseudobulb will form in this position. And when I brought it inside, the pseudobulb was not formed just yet, and now it kind of is. It's not yet complete. I'm not sure if it will ever be super mature, super complete, but as you can see, she's sitting upright without being held by this little tie, which is good. It means the pseudobulb is hardening off in this straight position, but I can feel there is a dent here, a little bend, actually, not a dent. So yeah, I think I set it back once again, which is a shame. So there we have it, a first very good evolution, and then a setback. It happens. I'm a little conflicted about growing the orchids outside. I'm seeing with the Cattleyas, they are actually responding well. They're growing vigorous, producing more sheath. I cannot believe this. Oh my goodness. As I was talking right now, this guy is spitting his pollen. Do you see that? And it just happened right now. At the end of this video, I'm going to try to trigger a pollen just to show you. So back to the Cattleyas. I think they actually enjoyed a little bit being outside in the sun. They grew a little bit better, but it's a lot of hard work. I'm thinking maybe a wicking system for them if I want to maintain them outside. I have some ideas, but yeah, I would not go ahead and put outside things that are finicky or are recovering from something. It was a mistake putting this one outside, but I was not expecting the growth to just bend over. She appears to be okay now though. I just hope she will not be set back. Next up we have a Bulbophyllum. This is the Aquino Lab. I don't know why I forgot the name. I know him very well. Not that I have a lot of Bulbophyllums, I only have 2. I think I should get more. So this guy is growing very well. As you can see, he's already in a wicking system. Again, because it's the type of orchid that drinks a lot of water and sometimes gets very dehydrated. The pseudobulbs get very shriveled, and whenever that happens, you know what else happens? This. I'm sick and tired of having him getting this leaf tip dieback whenever he's too dry. So, wick watering for him, and I'm hoping everything will go better. Now, when I purchased this orchid, he was so incredibly tiny. I'll show you images on the screen. Of course, he was mounted on cork, but of course, I don't do okay with mounted orchids. I just simply don't have the climate to help me out with that, or the automation in my grow space. So obviously, I do have more success with potted orchids. He's potted, and he's actually growing very nice. He developed a lot. When I received him, I think this was the latest pseudobulb. This might have been present, actually. This might have been present on the orchid as well. So this section, both of these were created after I purchased it. So I do see an evolution. It looks nice. It's just this. He's not the only one though. All of the orchids that are heavy drinkers and I cannot keep up with their watering, they have this issue. But I'm hoping that with the wick watering system, I am going to resolve it. I am planning to actually move all of these very heavy drinkers to this system, because even if the top is a little bit dry, the bottom shall never be dry as long as there is water in the reservoir. And that's all that matters, because this orchid actually has a lot of roots. They're pretty deep in the sense that they reach the bottom of this pot, so they do get hydrated, and that's what matters, not necessarily the top. Even though the top, you know, it's just dry on the surface, but it stays pretty moist otherwise. You can see here, some of the roots are green. They're nice. So this guy has had a good evolution. I just don't really enjoy how thirsty he is. So I'm hoping the setup will benefit both him and myself. And so far so good. I didn't have flowers. He's still a baby, but maybe next year, who knows? Or maybe this growth. What do you guys think? Those of you who have the Aquino Lab, do you think he's too tiny? I tend to think so, but I'm not sure. Let me know in the comment down below. Oh, right, take a wild guess what this can be. It looks horrible, so it can only be one thing. It's a Zygopetalum type. This is a Zygonesia, actually, Cynosurae bluebirds. Not sure how to pronounce it correctly. I don't know what's up with me and zygos. The only actual time when I had success with a zygo was with one that I didn't repot. Moreover, I was showering every single day because it had spider mites, and until I did the treatment and moved here, I just showered him every day to remove some of the mites. And that was the only time that something Zygopetalum related did okay for me. So I'm thinking maybe I should go with terrestrial mix for these guys. Problem is, in my area there are no Zygopetalums. This was actually an online order, and as far as the description of this orchid goes, she's a warmer grower than the Zygo. So I tried semi-hydro with her, failed. She did not enjoy it. I recently put her in a terrestrial mix, but I don't think she can bounce back from the semi-hydro experience. She has some new growth, but you can see it's crinkly. It's just, I don't know. She has roots as far as I remember, but these new growths are just not looking okay. You can see the pseudobulbs are pretty plump. They're not shriveled. So we do have roots. I just cannot explain it. So yeah, maybe Zygopetalums are those orchids which are simply not okay for me, and I should just, you know, but it bugs me. I need to understand why. Is it the temperature? Is it the water content, which by the way, it has always been high? Is it the pH? Is it, what is it? So yeah, I started the terrestrial mix experiment with this one already declining. So yeah, maybe it's not gonna be very conclusive. Once the Zygopetalums start to decline, it takes a lot of time for them to come back, if they do. So I don't keep my hopes high for this particular one. But I'm pretty hopeful for the terrestrial mix idea. I just need to start with a decent looking one, which I'm sure will never happen. I might need to order it, but I'm not in a hurry, if you know what I mean, you know. So yeah, sadly, not even the warmer growing Zygonesia was safe in my hands. And this is how she looks like. I am still holding on to her, of course, and I really do hope that in the end, she will bounce back. I'm hoping this mix will work better than semi-hydro. There we have it. It's just not going well with zygos and me. And lastly, maybe you already know this one because we talked about it recently, but I'm not sure if you know his history. I'll link it down below to as many videos as I can find with him. I have him for a very long time. He was the climber Paphiopedilum. Recently, I had the dieback situation from him in semi-hydro. He absolutely did not adjust to semi-hydro and didn't really care for it all that much. I had a lot of dieback, as you can see here. This is an older leaf, actually, on him, and it started to die back as he was still a baby, this particular growth. Paphiopedilums are sympodials, by the way, they're not monopodial, so he wasn't a baby, not a cakey, it was just a new growth. And the old growth, you can see it here, is just going away. That's normal. But as this one was growing, I had serious dieback issues. And this happened about 3 months ago. Look at him today. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe it. He's spectacular. He looks like a model, doesn't he? Well, in comparison, of course. Color is back, vigorousness is back. He's growing so fast and is just overall doing incredibly well. Look how big he grew as well. Oh my goodness, I'm very surprised. If you're wondering what I did with him, if you missed that video from a couple of weeks ago, I actually switched the medium. Semi-hydro, done. I put it in terrestrial mix. This is not even terrestrial mix, it's a bunch of cocoa peat that I mixed with some rocks for more drainage. I didn't have a proper terrestrial mix at the moment, and plucked the guy here and he's doing great. I actually think I saw, look at this, roots. Oh, he didn't have these good roots. So I was thinking to move him to a proper soil, but he's doing so well. I just don't want to disturb him right now. I will probably will switch him to a wick watering system just so I get him out of my hair, because he is actually drying a lot faster than I want. There we have it. He's doing great. I cannot believe it. And this is a sort of very short then and now, but I'm just blown away. How much difference. Oh my goodness. This guy never did spectacular ever since we moved here. I was about to just give up on him at some point because I thought he was diseased or that I simply could not offer what he wanted. But look at that. What a beautiful recovery. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed today's video with the bad stuff, but also the good stuff. In everything, there is something to look forward to give you hope, but I truly believe it's not okay to just ignore the bad stuff. I feel that we need to learn from them, embrace them, and handle them, because that's what makes us better, makes us wiser and stronger. So I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from, and you will get the good out of the bad situations as well and learn from it. And as I was saying, I will make sure to always show you the not so pleasant sides, the failures, the, I don't know, stuff that I don't like, stuff that disappointed me. I will always show you those things, whether you like it or not. And I hope that in the end it will all make for a better learning experience. And with that said, let's end it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. You know the drill. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe to my channel for regular orchid videos, tutorials, and all sorts of other orchid related topics. And if you like YouTube to notify you whenever I upload a new video, just make sure that you have all notifications turned on. And with that said, I'll see you all next time. Bye! Okay, this guy, do you see all of this pollen? It just happened on its own. I don't think the breeze did it. I think it just happens after a few days. So let me just see if I have any other flower with its pollen intact. Okay, I think I still have pollen in this flower. Let's try to trigger it. Ah! Look at that. It's really interesting and fun whenever this happens. But of course the flowers will just die off faster now. But this guy has been shooting pollen all the time. Might as well make a video from it, right? This is how catasetums work.